Hello everyone, Turner Burner here with another video for you guys. First off, I want to say thank you guys for, commenting and discussing in the last discussion video. And thank you for listening, things of that nature. Always like hearing your opinions, always like engaging with you guys. Um, and you never know, or excuse me, I never know how those types of videos are going to do, and who they're gonna influence or impact positively or otherwise. So I always appreciate hearing what you guys have to say. That way I know what videos are beneficial or even if you like discussion videos at all. So but yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for listening. Highly appreciate that. But yeah, let's get into the next discussion video. So in this video, there's three things I want to talk about. It's going to be similar to the other video as far as the style, um, but let's just dive right into it. There's three things mainly. I may mention the fourth thing in this video if it makes sense, but there's three things that I feel would highly improve Escape immediately. Some things they said they would already do, and other things I thought of that they may be working on or they may not be. I don't really know. But right off the bat, the one of the more obvious ones is Iron Man. So Iron Man basically reads as no respawns allowed. People who die cannot be revived. Now, when I was first starting Escape, I had some confusion about this particular uh, modifier because there would be times I would die before the safe room and then I'd respawn after the safe room, and it's still like that. So this modifier has actually never been all that true. If you die before the safe room, you respawn, but if you die in a hive with only one act, like the end, you won't respawn. So like your respawn is dependent on when you die. If you die like on the barracks, there's two acts. So if you die before the safe room, you respawn. If you die after the safe room, you won't. So um, honestly, I think I've heard people say like they want it to be harder like that. So they want people if they die before the safe room, they just don't respawn. That would make a lot of things way tougher and already tough type of game or whatever. So, but that would be interesting though if they made it that way where if you die before the safe room, you're just done for the game. But that would really frustrate a lot of people, and Master Escape's not easy, so I wouldn't recommend that. But I would recommend getting rid of this modifier altogether because on console it might be different on PC. It takes about anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes, depending on I don't even know what it depends on, but it takes about 3 to 6 minutes to load and reload a match. So when you're dealing with Escape, you have stuff like solo runs, score runs, things of that nature, and with Iron Man. So um, if I'm going for a particular solo run, it could take me hours, sometimes days. It depends. Iron Man just adds to that frustration because of the fact that every time I lose, and unless it's the descent, lethal engagements, or the line, every time I lose, I have to go back to the lobby. So I would rather, and I don't know what's taking so long with this. I don't know if I'm the only one that doesn't like this modifier. I'd rather just have an extra modifier to make it more difficult, as opposed to Iron Man that doesn't make it difficult. It just makes it annoying. And I don't even know why they had Iron Man to begin with. It's just lazy. It's just like, oh, we can't think of a seventh modifier, so let's just make Iron Man. So I would vote, in my opinion, to get rid of it altogether, in my estimation. But that's just me. It makes it for a more efficient game, and one of the two harder maps in the game are the line and lethal engagements, and they don't have Iron Man. So that proves, at least with those two maps, um, that it's just unnecessary. You could have something else to make it harder. You could have, let's say, I think this is the Hive. You could have like you know, shielded grenadiers or shock juvies. Anything to make it, or invisible scions there's a lot of other ways to make it more difficult than just causing us to reload and load the map. Because no, that's Master Escape's hard enough that if you're trying to map for a new time or if you're trying to solo it for the first time, you may spend more time just looking at that blue skull loading in and out and being in the lobby than you do actually playing. So that can be frustrating, and I hope they get rid of it as soon as tomorrow. Um, but the next thing I want to touch on is kind of similar or kind of connected to the Iron Man thing, but RNG. So one of the I'll go to the Barracks because it kind of ties into what I'm talking about. So the Barracks for me, the team I was running with, we got, I think it was third on the Barracks. So the thing with the Barracks is you have there's spawns, there's spawns before and after the safe room, right? So before the safe room you can get snipers or grenadiers. And then after you can get there's a spawn that has the Mulcher Scion, and there's a spawn that has Salvo Scion. So it's really after the safe room I want to touch on. Our time here is third, in spite of the fact that we had the inferior spawn after the safe room. Now, I couldn't get one of our players to play it again to reload the map, but honestly, I shouldn't have to, because the RNG problem with the values of the enemies has been a problem since I've known about score runs. You could be reloading the map for half hour, an hour straight just to try to get the right spawn before and after the safe room. So for the Barracks, specifically, the ideal spawn is to have snipers before the safe room, because I was Foz, so one shot headshot the Scions before the safe room, and then you can have Salvo Sound after the safe room. The difference in value of time is 5 minutes if you have the Mulcher Scion spawn after the safe room versus the Salvo Scion spawn. So we have Mulcher Scion spawn, so that without any skill involved cost us 5 whole minutes, and we had the choice to reload the map or not, and we didn't want to deal with it. So we could have got second here if the spawns were equal, or we had the correct spawn or whatever. So that aspect of the game is highly unfair in my opinion. The fact that teams or myself have to reload the map a bunch of times to get what we want, it's exhausting. So I think they should just either have one spawn and that's it, or they should have us in custom lobbies be able to choose the spawn we want to play. That would be nice, to where like you could pick, like, I don't know, spawn A or spawn B before and after the safe room. You knew exactly what you were getting into, and you didn't have to waste time reloading the map, because it's almost weird. It's like the universe knows that you're going for a score, a solo run, so you end up getting the wrong spawn 3 or 4 games in a row, and there's really nothing you can do about it, especially if you need to improve only a couple of minutes. You need that correct spawn, or you're just wasting your time. So that's what I'd recommend overall in conclusion to that, where you can either, I would say you should pick the spawn, or be able to pick the particular spawn before and after the safe room. That way you streamline, what you're going to do, or there's only one possible spawn for every single map. There's no good spawn. There's no bad spawn. There's one spawn. And the one spawn thing, I want to be clear, was actually a friend's idea that we mentioned when we were working another map. He said, like, there should just be one spawn, and I was like, that's brilliant. That would save a lot of problems, because there's no good spawn. There's no bad spawn. Yeah, it would suck if you don't like the enemies that are in that spawn, but ultimately, um, you it would be redundant, but it would be fair, and it would cause a lot of people not to waste a bunch of time. A lot of players don't have hours and hours to devote to solo and score runs, so the fact that we're put in a position where we have to is kind of frustrating and kind of takes the fun out of it. That's what I would suggest for the problem with RNG and spawn types. Even on I'm trying to solo a map still that's extremely hard. And I've gotten the quote unquote inferior spawn like 7 games in a row. Multiply that by 5, that's 35 minutes of wasted time. On PC, it's probably shorter. I don't really know, but it's still wasted time on PC or console, regardless of how much it is. Um, so that's what I would say about the RNG problem. If you guys may not even care about the RNG problem, but I do feel that for people that do, we should be able to choose to spawn to maximize our time on gears, to make it more efficient, if you will. So, last thing I want to touch on in this video is better cards for Horde. So, in Horde, there's Horde Frenzy, and obviously there's 1 through 50. So on a 1 through 50, if you complete it after the 2.5 hours of playing, you will get 10 cards on Master. I don't know what it is on other difficulties, I don't remember. But on Master, you get 10 cards. Now, just for, cross comparison, Master Escape, you get 5 cards on, well, you anywhere from 5 to 7 cards, depending on how many times you did that map. So, we'll just say 5 for the sake of this video. You'll get 5 cards on Master. On average, I would say the average Master Escape run is about 15 to 20 minutes. Again, for the sake of this video, we'll just call it 20 minutes. So 20 minutes versus probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So in 20 minutes, I can get 5 cards for my character, Master Escape. And about 5 times or 6 times as long it takes me to get 10 times, or sorry, to give me 10 cards for my character. So that math isn't even appropriate or logical. Horde Frenzy is a little bit better than 1 through 50. You get 4 cards in about a half hour. It's relatively comparable to Master Escape, but even then, it really needs to be probably closer to 8. I think that actually needs to be 10, Horde Frenzy. I would actually say, if I were making a proposition, just, not because of any specific math, I'd probably say Horde Frenzy needs to be anywhere from 8 to 10 cards, and 1 through 50 needs to be anywhere between 30 and 40 cards. So I'll just be 10 cards for Horde Frenzy and 40 cards for Master of Horde 1 through 50. I think it's ridiculous that they haven't changed that or updated that, because not to mention the fact that 1 through 50 is, so as far as duration, is so much more of a grind than one escape match. So like, I don't think it's fair at all, or even logical, that people only get 10 cards after 2-hour match. So but that's just my opinion. I think that if it's not going to be what I just suggested, around 40 cards or whatever, I do think it should be way more than 10 at minimum. So, but and that's why a lot of people do XP runs on the Surge or the Clock or the Descent. That ties into why people do that, because of the fact that Master Horde doesn't offer anything, or doesn't offer enough to incentivize you to just play Master Horde. Master Escape is efficient enough to where, yeah, okay, I'll play Master Escape, but Master Horde, because of the card offerings, it's almost not fair. It's kind of ridiculous, but hopefully they change that. Hopefully they can change something with the RNG, and hopefully they can change something with Ironman as soon as possible. But that's it, guys, for this video. Let me know what you think of, what your opinions are as far as the spawns, Iron Man, and if you would like to have more cards for Horde. What do you think, actually? Because I actually wasn't sure myself, is the appropriate amount for Horde 1 through 50. I know it ain't 10, and it may not be 40 either, what I suggested, but what do you think is the appropriate amount? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Comment below, let me know. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and stay tuned for the next video. You guys have a good one.